Today on the SlabStox YouTube show, I brought in Anthony from Australia. It's the first Australian we've ever had on the SlabStox podcast. I've talked to people from Germany, people from the UK, of course, a lot of people in America, but this is a new perspective that I think you all will love, learning about someone who got into sports cards, built relationships, and really profited and collected at the same time and got some huge hits and some breaks. It's a great episode. I hope you all enjoy. Welcome back, everyone, to another SlabStox FC show. My name is Aaron, your host on this soccer card show on Sunday, and we have Anthony here from Anthony Collects. He is bringing in the Australian perspective. This is the first time we've ever had someone from Australia on the SlabStox podcast, no matter the sport, no matter the topic. So, Anthony, thanks so much for joining me. Really happy to have you here.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. Hopefully I can give some insight, I guess, from the Aussie perspective.
Yeah.
We do have like a big, I guess, hobby enthusiasts, a lot of hobby enthusiasts, I should say, in Australia, and it's definitely growing as well. And I guess I can provide some insight.
Yeah, let's talk about it. I want to hear about your journey. Like, how did you even get into sports cards in the first place? What are sports cards like down in Australia? I don't know if obviously you follow a ton of people from the US, most likely in the card market space. If there's any differences you see, explain those, or anything that you've learned through collecting and being in Australia. It's awesome.
Yeah. I'll touch on how I started. I guess collecting cards as a whole, I started when I was very young. I remember when I was like 4 or 5 years old, they had a Pokemon tour. I think it was Poker Tour in Sydney. And I remember going with one of my family friends there, and we had the cards. He was a couple years older than me, and he would end up with the better cards. I would trade with him. So that's where I started with Pokemon. And then sports cards specifically. So 2004 was the Euro, where Greece won, and I'm Greek. And so that's kind of what got me into watching soccer. And it was a big thing here, especially in like the Greek community in Australia, which is quite big. And then 2006 World Cup came around. And that was the first time we actually had cards, I think, sold at like pretty convenient locations, like corner stores, and one of our big like wholesalers had them readily available. And so me and my cousin, shout out Michael, me and Michael would collect these cards, and whenever like his mum would, take us shopping or something, she'd buy us some. Or when my mum took us shopping, she'd buy us some. And I still had them, and I remember.
Show me. Let's see them
today. So what actually happened was Michael was very good at soccer, and I'm not that good at soccer, but I enjoyed collecting the cards and I enjoy watching it. And he's a big Arsenal fan. And I remember at the time, he wanted all the Thierry Henrys, the 2006, like the hollow foil Thierry Henrys. And then I just wanted a bunch of players, like just a whole different type. I'll show you a few. So I was really big into Brazil Ronaldo. So I've got him. He's
dude, I love those cards.
Yeah, these cards are beautiful.
Yeah, that's great.
So these were all just like sitting out of, only a few of them were sleeved, and they were just sitting out of a case or anything, just sitting around. And I remember seeing them one day. I'm like, no way. And this was this year that I ended up finding them. So I got Kaká.
Awesome.
Ibrahimovic.
Oh, that's a nice one.
I spoke to my cousin, and he's got a whole folder full as well. And then we got Zidane. Let me get these up. Zidane, Ballack. But then the big story was, at the time, I really hated United. And if you can remember, I'm pretty sure it's that World Cup. Ronaldo had a big fight. Cristiano Ronaldo had a big fight with Rooney. I think it was the quarterfinal, semi-final. And so that was the reason why I actually traded the Henry for that Ronaldo.
Oh.
So I ended up getting that Ronaldo and then that Messi as well.
Oh, yes.
So they're in decent condition. I do want to send them off just to get graded, just for like sentimental reasons.
Yeah, you got to do that.
It was just funny. I found the whole set, and I'm really happy. I've got a whole bunch of bases, but they're pretty badly damaged. The ones that are really good are the Messi and the Cristiano Ronaldo. I think they were like in the middle of the deck, I guess, and they got kept pretty well.
That's awesome.
That was back then. Great. Yeah, and then I remember watching Gary V last year. So this is fast forward, I guess, almost like 14, 15 years. Fast forward to end of last year, I remember watching Gary Vee and talking about sports card investing. I had been watching Gary Vee during school. And then it wasn't until March this year, I went to Melbourne, which is the city below us. I'm from Sydney, so Melbourne's just the second major city. And I went to Melbourne with my girlfriend, Daniela, and I was telling her about sports cards. When we ran into the store and they had sports cards pretty readily available at the time. Basketball. And I wanted to
What's
buy
the
some
shop's
basketball
name?
cards. You know what? I think it's called Hobby World or Card World, one of the two.
Nice.
It's in one of the big malls in Chadstone, the big shopping mall, and they had Optic Donruss at the time, and
Optic,
they had a lot. They had a lot of NBA hoops, and in Sydney we didn't have any. I remember vividly looking for basketball cards and couldn't find any, especially like from like our major like retail, like your guys Walmart and stuff like we call them Big W, places like that. They didn't have basketball cards, so I bought some, and I remember Danielle took them off me and started opening them, and it became like almost a way, because she knew I was into basketball. She started trying to learn the players from that, and so it became almost like a bonding thing where she would read out the players, open the packets, and she's like, "Oh, okay, who's this guy?" And I'll be like, "Just tell me who it is. Tell me who it is." And it'll be Zion. I'm like, "It's Zion." I knew Zion was, at the time I was watching the basketball as well.
Yeah.
And it just became like a really good like bonding like thing between us. And she loved it. We came back to Sydney. We actually went looking for basketball cards. The only ones we could find from a store called The Gamesman, NBA hoops. We bought every single one they had, ripped them all that night. So I've got a whole box of like the green NBA hoops.
Is it the Teal Explosion cards?
No, these ones here. Not even the
green ones.
These are Australian exclusive, apparently.
Hey, those things are rare. I remember someone showing me a Zion of that, and they're rare.
They are. Yeah. So I sent off all the Zions and all the jars that I had that were green.
Nice.
I once shout out Dennis, because Dennis is one of Daniela's friends, and he got me more into basketball cards, and he explained that Australian exclusives are extremely rare. And when I put them up on eBay, I was getting a lot of like messages saying, like, can you ship to America? I'm like, okay, let me look into this a little bit more. And then that's how the hobby, I started getting into the hobby.
Nice.
So yeah,
that's so awesome. And I know you just said that you sent some of those Zions and Jaws off to get graded, and you're planning out with the Messi and Ronaldo. What's that process like? How difficult is it? Is there a lot of cost you incur?
Yeah, I was going to say the two big things about being in Australia and the hobby: access to retail product and hobby product it's kind of difficult to get. You got to know the right people, and there's a few stores that we'll get into, but grading is huge. That's a really big issue, and I know the UK people and the people in Europe have issues with grading. It would be good, and I think it'll eventually happen, especially with PSA getting, bought out over the.
I was just going to bring that up.
Huge story. I really do think that there'll be a couple other locations where grading gets done locally, because if they have someone office in Australia that captures the Asian market, and if they have an office in Europe that obviously catches Europe, you split it up into three. It's a huge benefit.
They for sure they have to go that way. They got to open offices in the EU and in Australia. It'd be massive for the industry, be massive for those people that want to collect there. It gets so many more people involved, because I can't even tell you, and I know you understand this, but those watching, how much grading helped grow the industry in the last year to two. Like, it makes it so much more understandable for people. It's a really huge deal.
Yeah, grading. I submitted my first batch of cards to grade. I go through a guy called Lane through PSA Submissions Australia. He's really good, very helpful, very quick to respond to messages, anything you need. I submitted my first batch in September, and then due back end of December. And those cards were, I think, majority soccer apart from the NBA hoops, the green ones.
Nice.
So the soccer cards there were really, it was very tough to pick because the grading costs are quite expensive as well. You can see that because you're paying for the shipping, obviously, back to Australia, to America, insurance, I guess, for him as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to be very selective with which cards. And I submitted them all as the under 500 category, I think it was at the time, just to get them back even a little bit quicker because the under 100, which is now changed to under 200, I think,
Yeah.
is it takes like 6 to 8 months.
It does. It could be upwards of 9 too if you like submit
Yeah.
directly PSA and stuff. It can take forever.
Especially with like the way that even soccer. I mean, soccer cards in August were going crazy, and now you can see they've cooled down a bit.
Yep.
So if you had got your graded cards in August and had them, and you paid a little bit extra for the quicker submission, you'd have them back. You could sell them and turn over like a quick profit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it definitely matters there for sure. Talk to me about buying and selling and what that's like. Do you source it from eBay? Are there local people that you do a lot of deals with? Like, what's the biggest way you buy cards? What's the biggest way you sell cards in Australia? Singles, that is, not sealed product.
Singles, yeah. Sealed products, yeah, whole nother story. But singles, eBay has been the biggest thing by far. Like eBay, I would say 90% of the singles that I've bought have been from eBay. We do have a really good store, I guess, and they've turned into online called Cherry
Yeah,
Collectibles. They're pretty well known in
I know
the
Cherry.
hobby.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're very Grayson. I think he's the head boss there, and he's really helpful. And he's been listing singles on his website, and a couple of times like you can buy from them, make them an offer, and they're pretty lenient with their offers. And I think they overlooked a lot of soccer early, and I kind
Yeah.
of caught them out a few times. Like my biggest win so far, I would say, is a Grealish Kaboom. Was he listed it at 200, and I offered him 80 Australian,
Yeah.
which is about 50 US, and he accepted. And now that card is gone up
That's
crazy, and
awesome.
that's off at PSA. But singles, Facebook Marketplace, Facebook groups more than Marketplace. There's a couple good ones, but
Is that like
the bigger
Australian
groups,
only groups that you're in? Like
yeah,
where
there is one relatively decent sized Australian soccer group called Soccer Cards and Collectibles. But those groups don't really get enough traction to get some good sales in. I sell a lot in Soccer Breakers FC, which is Cyrus.
yeah, I've heard of
His
them.
like trade and sell group. He doesn't really interact in that group. That's just run by a couple of his admins, and
Mm-hmm.
they sell there. And one of the admins is Australian, so he's quite good and lenient towards us Australians if we list in an Aussie dollar, and
Yep.
it's favored in American. But so singles are Facebook and eBay, definitely.
Nice. That's awesome. Have you given any thought to coming to America for the national next year? Is that something
I
you've ever
have,
considered?
I really have, and I recently to sell my cards. So we went to the buying. I'll talk about selling. I started a website to list my singles and to list
Nice.
any seal product that I got. So collectconnect.com.au. And I built that just to one, build a brand, and I guess in the same way SlabStox. SlabStox is like synonymous with you, and it's nice to have that brand behind you that you
Exactly.
can build and get
Mm-hmm.
people to know you. This Collect Connect, Anthony collects, and I like to have that together. And hopefully next year I've built it up to a stage where I can go to the national and meet people from America
Yeah.
and from all over the world. And then it'd be nice to like see everyone and interact and trade cards, I guess, and buy and
Yeah.
sell.
That'd be cool. I mean, we'd love to have you there. I'll have a booth there with SlabStox team, so it'd be really fun to meet you in person too, and to have others,
It will
interact there.
definitely.
Yeah, and I mean, there's so many events that'll be going on too, even outside of the national. Like Ryan Card Collector 2, he has a huge trade night. We're planning an event as
Yeah.
well, so it'd be a blast. All right, so you talked about a huge success you had with the Grealish Kaboom. What's a failure you've had? What did you learn from it, and how can you take that knowledge going forward?
The biggest, I got very lucky. When I first got in around, actually the biggest win I should say was when I was opening the cards with Daniela.
Mm-hmm.
I went on eBay, and at the time I was really big into FIFA, which is huge here, and that's a whole different story. FIFA and the hobby, when they integrate, it's over. Like NBA is one thing. If half the people that play FIFA, even 10% FIFA combines with the hobby, we're talking a huge amount of money coming in.
Yeah.
But I was really big into FIFA, and I thought since Daniela likes learning the NBA players, I'll buy some Prism World Cup Soccer. And they were selling here for $10 for a fat pack. And I bought, this guy was selling 3 packs, bought all 3 packs, came, and she hated them. She's like, I don't like the look of these cards. She didn't like any of the players. But if she had just said that she liked them then, I would have bought so many more. And that's, I guess you take the wins with the losses. But those World Cup cards were I sold quite a few. I had a Neymar and an Mbappe. I sold those. But I started getting into the silver prisms. So this is probably my biggest L so far, which is quite good. So De Bruyne silver prism, I bought for like 120 US, and now he's obviously dropped quite a bit. I've seen some sell 20, 30 US, and it's a decent L, but I'll take it. The only other thing I can think of was those Euro Select boxes. I think that product was a bit of a miss. They had some hits in it, but it wasn't as big as it lived up to.
It's interesting because I love Select for basketball. It's my favorite basketball brand that's put out there every year. I was really excited when I saw that the Euro for 2020 was going to get the Select treatment, and then they released the checklist, and there's no Ansu Fati, there's no Erling Haaland, there's no really big name. Like, these are names that haven't even had that many cards that really could have taken this set to a whole new level, and it didn't happen. And it's a little disappointing.
Yeah, it is a little bit, and I think they'll learn from it. I think Panini will bring up products that, they'll realize the rookie logo is so much more important than having just the player. Like Joao Felix in that set didn't have the rookie logo, even though it's not his rookie card, which is fair. It would have been nice to them see them. Grealish wasn't in that set, and Greenwood wasn't in that set, and there's a lot.
Yeah, that would have been another big one.
Missing. Greenwood was huge. That was a huge loss. And the whole promise of the Beckham and Haaland autos, that was a bit of a up in the air. At the first they had them in, and I don't know what happened.
It's interesting because if they just took their Chronicles checklist and merged it with the Select Euro checklist, that Select Euro set would have blew it out of the water.
Massive. And that's been my big hot take. I think Chronicles is still so undervalued. That box has so much potential to blow up. I've seen it going for $3.99 US. Now it's at $4.99 US. I think it just keeps going. The rookies in that class are amazing.
Yeah, what's your thoughts on
that's what I wanted to show you.
Yeah, show me.
This is when I first got in. I started entering breaks, and by some random chance, this was one of my first ever soccer breaks right here.
No
Messi,
way.
Crack guy,
no
23
way.
of 23. Yeah.
I was not expecting you to pull that thing out. Oh my goodness.
Dude, and shout out to Box Break. That's an Australian breaker. He's really good.
Oh my gosh.
That blew my mind. And when I found out the value of that card and when it got
thousands,
pulled, and I was shocked. I think the Ronaldo has sold for over 10,000 US.
Dude, yeah. I'm
just gonna hold this for many years to come.
Are you nervous about grading that card, sending it away? Is that why you
that I want to do that when I come to that? That's usually in a safe.
Yeah.
I want to do that when I come to America. I want to bring it in,
fly with you, and then you can bring it in person, drop it off, and get it graded at the National or some other time. That's probably the best way to do it, because I'd be nervous sending a card that valuable overseas too. It'd be such a long wait.
I can think about if I was to send that off, the insurance costs alone are crazy, and then you're paying for the grading cost, which is very expensive on a car like that. And it's just, I would feel more comfortable if I brought it to America, got it done 1-2 day. I'm not sure what the quickest way to do it is, but I definitely pay for that there. and bring it
Yeah, I
back.
mean, it's going to cost you that much in insurance anyways, and you're going to have to wait even
That's
longer if you were
right.
to send it like
That's
that. So
right.
you
I might
just
as well
got to do it
come and
that way.
enjoy the national. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
definitely.
Dang, awesome. Well, let's think about wrapping this up. I want to hear some of your like final thoughts for people that are looking to get into the space, they're looking to build a brand or looking to even just connect with others. What's your biggest piece of advice for new people getting into the hobby, soccer, basketball cards, whatever it might be? Because you were one of those people, a year ago. I
Yeah,
want to hear what your take on that.
I think a hugely undervalued like part of the hobby is breaks. Not even participating in them. I know some of them are very expensive, but watching them, you
Mm-hmm.
tend to learn what product is going to be more important than another product. I learned very quickly, like Prism was the one because the way people reacted to a Zion, silver coming out and they're screaming. You learn, you pick up those like nuances, and when that
Yeah.
card got pulled, the chat was going crazy. The guy that broke it was going crazy. You learn which cards are more important, why the rookie cards, and there's a lot of really good info that you can pick up in the chat groups, in the chats of those breaks.
Yeah.
So I think that's really, really undervalued. I
And there's
think
no expense there
specifically
too.
for soccer, that's right. You just watch it. You don't have
Yeah.
to. You don't have to always be in. It's really entertaining if you find the right breaker for you. Find someone
Mhm.
that's fast paced if you like fast paced. Find someone that talks about it more if you like that. But for soccer, soccer is tough. When you first get in, if you don't know soccer and you haven't had a background in soccer, you have to do your research,
Mhm.
especially with the rookies, especially this season with the injuries. And we haven't even hit middle of the season yet. And coming into the Euro, I would look out for players that are going to play for the national club next Euro, and then even if you've got the foresight to see the World Cup, if you can buy players that are going to feature in there, I think you're in the money, especially when the world is watching an event like the Euro and the World Cup, and you have players like if Greenwood makes that English team and scores in the Euro at such a young age, huge potential. Same for Grealish, the story behind him. If you pick up the stories and pick up cultural relevancy, like I think Haaland is so loved by everyone because he's like this rebel. He came out of nowhere, and he had that thing with Mbappe and Neymar last year, the celebration. I think that little
Mhm.
nuances, you have to dig in and do your research. I
Yeah,
think
that's
you'll
awesome.
do well if you really research your stuff and learn and have fun. Have fun is the most important thing,
For sure is,
without
man.
a
That's
doubt.
how people stick around, right? That's how you're going to stick around. That's how I'll
Definitely,
stick around.
definitely.
It's having fun connecting with others and really learning and
Yeah,
feeling like you're a part of something.
yeah.
Anthony, thanks so much for joining me. Anthony Collects, go
Thank
follow him
you.
on Instagram. Go check out, you said it was Collect Connect is the place to find you.
collectconnect.com.au.
Yeah, go
I
check
might
him
even do
out
a gift
there.
code for. I'll do SlabStox 5, a little gift code, any singles on there, and five
There you
dollars off.
go.
And
Look at that.
yeah,
Anthony
why
tossing
not?
out a little gift code. That's awesome. That's very nice of you. Thank you so much. This was SlabStox FC.
Thank
We
you for
talked
having me.
about NBA cards though too. This is a great podcast to learn if you're internationally or even if you're American, to learn about what it's like being overseas, maybe being in Australia, collecting, investing, trading cards, getting into breaks. Anthony, so much to learn from you. Thank you so much for joining me. This was SlabStox FC, and I will see you all on the next episode.